Of unique talent and breathtaking goals. Unfortunately for the players concerned, there are also moments far less glorious. Exhibitions of unique ineptitude and breathtaking stupidity. What you're about to enjoy is a tribute to all the World Cup stars whose crazy moments would lead us all to shout the immortal words,
"My granny could have done better than that."
Muller chased it in.
The donkey.
And even great players are capable of deeds that put them in this special category. Rudy Fowler with a fine impression here. And as we know, too much time isn't always a good thing for a striker. Poor old Bruno Conti looking for someone else to blame. Unfortunately, it's the old story of being in three minds and picking the wrong one. One of the costliest misses of all time befell poor old Jeff Astle of England against Brazil in 1970.
And England really putting the pressure on as hard as they can now. Jeff Astle is there. Astle now! How do you miss it? Jeff Astle!
And England lost 1-0. It's always more embarrassing when brilliant play ends with a howler. That's good. That's great. And that's awful.
What a terrible miss!
Here's a few more forgettable moments. Well, if you thought those were bad, just watch these from Andrzej Sharmak of Poland. He's a real specialist in this area. Hits the netting all right, but unfortunately, the wrong side of the netting. In fact, he made a bit of a habit of missing from less than a yard out. Now that really takes some skill. Boniek not at all pleased. That wasn't so much a miss as an act of sabotage.
The shot right across goal, and somehow the ball just wouldn't cross the line. As Sharmak went in to try and knock the ball over the line.
4 years later, and it was the French who were squandering chances. And this was Jean-Pierre Papin, of all people, against Canada. And just to prove it wasn't a fluke, this is Papin against Belgium. Now, come on. Somebody's definitely moved the goal. It wasn't there last time I looked. And the harder they try, the more difficult it seems to become. Lato's taken a tumble, but Lato using his lack of height to good effect, but still couldn't score. What I want to know is what on earth is he doing on his knees anyhow?
Well to get that one back, and Cameroon fortunate to survive.
Against Brazil in 1978, the Spaniards were queuing up, literally, to score, with no goalkeeper to beat. Now, here's a decent chance. And in his frustration, he goes in and gives the goalkeeper a couple of whacks. Take your time, old son. No hurry, you've got 90 minutes. And he messes it up. But perseverance does sometimes pay off, as Argentina showed against Poland. Bit of an opening there. Good save. At last. Carlos Babington, the scorer eventually, with the Poles standing like lumps of wood. At one stage, it's 4 Argentines against 2 Poles. But for relentless pressure on goal, nobody can beat the Brazilians. This is quality play here. There's all sorts of people queuing up for a shot. There's a good opening, and that's desperately unlucky. Here's another one. That's desperately unlucky. The Polish defence may have been a little bit flimsy, but the goalposts seemed to be standing up to the onslaught rather well. But it wasn't over yet. You get the impression that the Brazilians were enjoying this little game and were doing it almost deliberately. Then they get fed up with it, bang it into the back of the net. Let's have a look at that one again, as they say. The ball was picked up by the Mexican player Perez, much to the surprise of the El Salvador players. He then proceeded to take the free kick despite the referee clearly waving his arm in the other direction. Astonishingly, the goal was allowed to stand, but the referee had to fetch the ball because the El Salvador players were too busy arguing with the linesman.
Salvador players very upset about that.
The protests continued, and when the referee tried to take a few names for his little black book, he found plenty of volunteers. He couldn't write fast enough.
Who has to supervise this match is Latcher for Russia. He's obviously noting this. Mr. Kandil is writing in his book and taking this out. And he's obviously desperately trying to get the game restarted. And every time he puts it on the centre spot, the Salvador players kick it away. They don't want to know. They'll be in trouble.
Then the referee made the best decision so far. He blew for half-time.
The captain, Mariona, there.
Sometimes 23 people on a football pitch is just one too many.
Larios, then looking for the gap. Oh, what an interception by the referee. That's one of the best tackles I've seen. He apologised for it too.
Intercepting the ball is one thing. Intercepting the player is quite another.
Velasquez, a hard one for him. Oh, it's the referee, Antonioni. He's down and out. The game goes on. He lost his teeth. His whistle, which, well, that was unfortunate. No problema. Let's enjoy it again. Not very dignified.
It's so terrible for the team who are attacking when that type of thing happens, because the previous were all coming out, they were in a good attacking position, and then of course they lost the ball and the referee's on his backside.
In the game between France and Canada, there were cries of foul play. But whilst the Canadian goalkeeper looked on helplessly, the courageous linesman took matters and the errant bird into his own hands and saved the day. So the linesman got the bird, probably for his supper.
I'll have it lightly cooked, not too much garlic.
Being an official is certainly a tough job.
Gets a rather large share of the crowd.
So no wonder they lose their cool sometimes.